Hey everyone, welcome to this week's YouTube. This is Melissa, and I really wanted to get back to painting some florals this week, so I'm grabbing the Christmas, the winter inspired colors. So get some blues, a bold red. We're gonna do some greens, a little bit of Payne's gray. My hair will not be in the video, sorry about that. And we are gonna create these really, really lovely loose florals. It's gonna be fun and free, and if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or stressed by all the holiday activity, this is a great way to relax and create something gorgeous. So let's get going. Hey everyone, welcome to a December edition of our YouTube channel. This is Melissa with The Creative Season. I just was looking at some of my found items. This was from a craft store, but went and got a Christmas tree over the weekend, and I was picking up the trimmings and just love the rich, cool colors of the season. So I wanted to go back and paint flowers, and just being inspired by a lot of the winter colors. You know, winter colors are bold, they're cold. You don't need so many of them per se because they're so bold. So I thought, let's do some florals. We're going to do a Christmas floral bouquet. And I've just sketched out a really simple picture here. If you would like to pause or just watch as I sketched it out, what I did is I went ahead, I have a vase here, and then I just added in some of the flowers. I like to just get kind of a sketch of what I'm going to be doing. Then what I do is I will erase where I don't have, where the flowers will cover the vase, for example. So let's go ahead and start. I have a larger brush here. This is about a size 18 round tip. I've got my size 7 here as well. I've got clean water. I've got my colors. I did just wash off my palette, so that's always lovely. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get everything nice and wet, and I just want to talk through my colors. So I'm going to be using some cadmium red, which is a very bright red. We may not use too much of it, but I thought it would be fun just maybe as the eye of some of the flowers, that heart. I have some permanent green, which is more of a spring green, but I have a hooker's green here too. And so that one's right there, and that one's we're going to mix these up with some blue. That hooker's green is definitely colder. I've got ultramarine blue over here, and this is a deep winter blue. It's very, very cold, and when I mix it with the green, it really turns into a beautiful, like an evergreen, like those branches that I just had out. So those are the colors. I've got a bit of Payne's gray over here too, and I can add that into the green. So those are the main colors that we're going to use today, and possibly some of our brown too as well. So just wanted to let you know what colors we're going to use as I start adding in color. I think what I first actually want to do is I want to do a little bit of a wash around the edges, because that is going to help as I lay. It's going to be hard to maybe do a wash when I finish, right? When we have all the leaves and whatnot. So this is let's go ahead and start. And I think what we'll do is I am just going to get some of that light blue, or I'm going to get a wash of the ultramarine blue. And if you have phthalo blue, which is also a cool blue, and you want to mix a little bit of that in, go for it. That's going to add a nice hue. I've got more water, and I am just going to start adding a wash around. The other thing I thought we could do is to do one of primarily blues and purples. That would be fun too, right? But I thought, okay, I want to pull in a little bit of red because of the season that we're in. I'm not sure what color the vase is going to be yet, but we will get there soon. I'm going to, again, just a little bit of a nice light wash. And if you think, gosh, that's a little bit too dark, just either add water. But then the other thing you can do too is you can take like a paper towel or a cloth, and we can blot it. So that's the other thing we can do. When I'm wanting to do a wash, I might just really want to blot it. Oh, I have a color on that. And because really I'm not trying to get a dark color down. I'm not color blocking per se. I'm really just wanting to get some background color. It'll be a great base for some shadowing, right? But it's hard to get in there when I start putting my really lovely, oftentimes rather flamboyant blooms that are going a bit of everywhere. So that's part of the reason that I'm just doing a bit of a wash. And again, then just blotting it off. And then rinse your paintbrush really good. Now, what I think I'm going to do with the red is I'm going to use the red for some of my the middle of my flower. That's what I'm thinking. And then this is a bit of a departure for me, just plain trying something new. You know, I always say when we're painting, you know, we're not going to hurt anybody if it doesn't work out, right? So I'm going to, for example, go right over here. This is the center of one of my flowers. So I am just going to put some nice red. It actually is going into my blue, which is not what I wanted. So be careful of making sure it's not too close to any of your blues, but you know what, that's okay. We're gonna blot it and then I will just work it into the painting. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. We're not gonna hurt anyone, and we can always, most of the time, we can fix things too. So over here too, I've got another, just the inside of my flower, almost like a, you know, those sea anemones that have the big, beautiful, bright face. I'm gonna wash this off. I'm actually gonna come back now. I'm going to get some more of that blue, and this time a really concentrated blue. And I'm even going to start coming up here and creating a really beautiful blue flower. Being cognizant too of leaving a lot of white in the space. And I'm not even sure, these are almost a style of peonies, but they're not. It was, you know, when you can go on Pinterest or any sort of floral book and these really gorgeous bouquets, it's just like they're spilling out of a vase. That was really the idea I was getting. I thought, you know what? I haven't been getting as many fresh flowers lately. I really like to get flowers in season. So winter, I don't want to be getting spring flowers in the wintertime, if that makes sense. So I actually need to go over to my florist and see what's local right now and see what I can pick up. So I've been leaning heavily, a little more heavier on some different plants. I'm in California, so sometimes it doesn't get quite cold enough for some of the varieties. But anyways, I just want to let you know, there's lots of ways to still paint flowers, maybe not from live, but we can just use our imagination, use our resources. So you can see this flower, it's going to be spilling over the cup or over the vase. I'm adding a little bit darker. If your red gets mixed up, not a big deal. Red just turns to purple. We'll end up making it as some shadows, right? So again, just moving around, and I'm going to come up here again. I'm going to come over on this one and leave some white in there. So we can come back and add either other colors or some shadowing, and I'm just painting the petals and making sure that hopefully, okay, good, you can see everything. Sometimes I get so caught up that I forget. I need to make sure you can see it too. Okay, so now I'm going to go, I've grabbed some of the blue. I've got some phthalo that's mixed in now, and with this flower, let's see if I can do this without touching. We are going to create big blossoms and blooms around this one. And this is a type of, is it Black-Eyed Susans? That might have been my inspiration for this one, because I'd seen a really beautiful painting, picture of flowers. And I love their bold center, but even their really almost oversized, grandiose petals. And so go ahead and let your paint kind of settle in places too. That's really going to help. Show depth and just the movement. If you get a little bit of red, not a big deal. And I'm going to come right in here, getting close to the red, but try not to touch it, letting some of the paint get deeper and darker in some places more than others. And then with this one, I had another one like this. I'm going to also create, this one over here is not open. This is a flower that's not blossomed yet. The other thing I was thinking of doing too, which I think it's going to be for next week, I have Christmas things I want to do too. I just wanted to come back with a floral in December, right? I want to do red hydrangeas, because remember we were talking in the summertime, if you've been with me, and I had those really gorgeous like turquoise, pink, and purple hydrangeas, and I'm like, what? How did they get this color? Okay, I'm going to grab some more red, and I am going to go over on this flower, and I'm going to do this, and we got some blue mixed in, not a big deal, and do this petal. This is another flower we're going to bring that's opened up. It almost looks like a snapdragon. And of course, we haven't added any green yet, and adding the green is going to be very helpful in laying out our flowers. And this is another one of those interesting flowers that was almost like a snapdragon in its shape. But back to those hydrangeas, I just thought, you know what, we could do a really gorgeous like Christmas bouquet of hydrangeas, right? Like splatter art style too is what I'm thinking. All right, I'm going to dab in some that cadmium red. This is cadmium red. I believe this is a medium hue, so it's not the dark hue, which is why it almost has like that Christmas red appearance. I'm going to add just a bit of color in there because I want that color to build up in certain places. I'm going to add some more color over here. And right over here, that's looking really nice. So then let's go ahead and let's add some green, okay? So we're gonna really start filling in on some of our leaves. So over here, I had just done a couple of examples to remind me what kind of leaves, almost teardrop leaves. And I am just gonna go ahead and continue on making my lovely teardrop leaves. And we have the stem also coming out over here from one of these flowers. And I'm gonna go ahead, and we will actually end up filling in most of these with green, with flowers, It's gonna be really, really nice. So again, moving these leaves, I've got a stem here, moving this down here. We're gonna also end up darkening everything up quite a bit. I have a stem coming out, let's see, right over here. We're gonna actually make a nice leaf almost coming off over here. Almost like, I remember the peony, if you were back in May, I think we did a bunch of peonies. So I'm gonna this is our peony inspired. This is just a Christmas, it's like a Christmas fantasy floral. That's what this is. We are just making things up, going with a lot of the flowers that I've been painting this year and creating a Christmas inspired bouquet. Because wouldn't that be fun? Just to get your flowers in the colors that you want them. Okay, this one, we're just a little tip right here, and then this thicker stem coming down. I always love the idea of being able to go to like a flower mart and just picking out all the flowers that we want. All right, I'm gonna do a stem coming out from behind. So we got a little bit, I got some in the great blue, not a big deal. And this guy, probably the stem is gonna be coming more out over here. So going into that vase, maybe even more like this. I've got a stem out here because I have a flower that we're gonna color or paint right in here. I really would like a flower right here too, but I need to be careful with all the color that's going on. I am gonna pick up some more blue and I'm gonna drop it here to add that nice, bold, beautiful petals down here. I'm gonna go ahead and make it bigger. And with this one too, making those a bit bigger and bolder. I really love that. I've got this over here and it is a bit of a mess, but that's okay, right? Because our messes end up turning sometimes into the prettiest ones because we just work with them, let them dry, come back, do some sketching, add some more layers, but really enjoying the different blues with the pop of reds coming out over here and then adding in more greens. So let's grab some more green as well. And I am going to go ahead and I want to bring this stem all the way down here and bringing out some more stems that we're going to have. I'm going to have another stem over here. Also, I want to have a really nice big leaf. I really think that leaves are just as beautiful as the blossoms. Sometimes they're very intricate in their detail. They're very much lots of detail. Each one has distinguishing features. And we've talked about a lot of that this year, which I love the different features of leaves. So I've got a big leaf on this big flower here, and I am probably right over here. We're gonna do another big leaf coming out over here. And if you're like me, I am not a florist, so a lot of times when I'm arranging my flowers, I am just putting all sorts of things in there. All sorts of things. Okay, let's go ahead up here and we have another flower, almost a side view of a portrait that we're looking at. So we have our inside, we're gonna leave that white for now. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna put more blue here and we're gonna put a petal going over here. And I'm even gonna do one more petal coming out this way and a petal on the back coming out, leave some white so we can show the inside, and a petal right back there. Okay, and I'm hoping good, you can see all that. So you can start to see now how that flower, it's really beginning to come together. Now what I want us to do is let's go ahead and lay some paint on this vase. And I think we should do a light red. I'm actually gonna take some red and I'm gonna add some water to it and make it fairly light. And that way, now I'm gonna just come right over here on the edge of my vase and try not to touch the rest of your flowers if possible. And we will just do a very light, red. It's really almost more of a pink, right over here. Leave some white too on the bottom, especially showing off where the light would be reflected off of it. I do want to do a flower here too, and so I am just going to do a little bit of red, again leaving lots of white to show the reflection. If you find that, I got a little bit of blue, not a big deal. In fact, I'm actually going to blot out this stem because I think I want a flower there instead, and so I'm going to leave that blank for now. But to remind me that I want a flower, I am going to add a bit of that red in the middle, so we know we have another red just like that, and uneven. And that one I put wet on wet, so it's a little bit too wet. I don't want it that wet. Let me try that again. Grab the other paintbrush, dab it off a bit, grab some red paint, and there we go. And we're just gonna let that completely dry. I'm not even gonna touch it. I am going to come back over here, adding some color there. Remember, red and green will make brown. We don't want brown, so I'm going to leave that alone. What I'm thinking too is we might end up coming back with a pink or that light color and doing a little bit of that color over here of a second wash. I think that would actually bounce very, very nicely together. So we are basically at a stopping point right now. The one thing I do want to do is grab some blue. If you have a table here, go ahead and grab some blue and go ahead and outline around your vase. It's okay if it gets a little bit wet. We're going to come back in with some ink, but let's get at least a wash down there. Get some extra blue, and then because you'd have all the flowers over, right? So you're going to have a lot of shadowing, and just dab in some blue, right like that. Now probably your water's getting pretty dirty, so before we go on to, definitely get some more water. I'm just going to do a quick look too. Do I want to add any more green? I think I do, just a little bit. So I go ahead, I mix up some green. I'm even going to put a bit of Payne's gray in it. And so what that ends up doing is I'm going to come back like over here, and I'm just going to add in some more leaves. Adding in some more leaves right around here, right over here. I'm going to grab a little bit of blue. I'm just going to let the blue dance in that leaf up here. I also think I'm going to have right over here some additional of those lovely little baby leaves. Adding some more personality to this beautiful bouquet that is really just going everywhere, is it not? But I love it. I love our really crazy bouquet. I've got a petal here that doesn't have a stem, so I definitely want to add a stem there. And I am going to let it dry, because I am at that point where if I don't let it dry, it will start to merge. So I'm going to let it dry. We've been painting for about 16 minutes, and I'll come back. We'll finish it up. It's going to be just lovely, our bold Christmas painting. Hey everyone, okay, so my paint is just about dry. It's a little bit wet in a few places, but I am really excited to paint. So I'm just gonna avoid those places. I am gonna start doing some sketching though. I will be honest, this is one of those paintings where I think to myself, I don't know about this one, but sometimes these are the ones that turn out, they really pull on our creative abilities to problem solve, to figure out how can I make this really come together and to dance. So let's go ahead and work with what we're going to do for that. So I'm going to go ahead and start by taking the micron pen, and I am just going to start adding in some details with my pen. This sometimes will help me to add some defining characteristics. It'll help me pull out some things and to see some things. I'm just doing some light sketching. I might also be putting in some marks where I want to add some shadowing and coming around here. And I just move around, especially if I think that things have gotten maybe a bit, they've gotten blurry. I can't see the lines. Maybe there's some water staining going on. And I'll just come back in here and add in some sketching, some light sketching with the pen. If your paper is a bit wet, be careful about not sketching on the wet portions. Okay, and as I'm going through here too, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not thrilled about the colors, to be honest. They're not singing yet, and we like our colors to sing. And so I'm just feeling like I've got a little bit of a discrepancy there. So again, and we've got a fire engine going by, so apologies for that. So go ahead and just continue to sketch if you're sketching with me, and I'm gonna just create some different lines here. Now this is a flower right here, and I do need to add some color, and the other color blocking has shown where I'm going to be putting that color, so that's fun, right? That's actually a lot of fun, and I actually think I might make that a pink or a red flower instead of another blue one, because we have a lot of blue going on around the painting. Right now this one up here, this was our flower that was not quite open, and I need to come back and add some more on that. Some detail here, a little bit of green in there, which is fine. And I think actually too, if I count my blooms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I do need at least one. I do have a little in here. We have a little bloom here that's maybe not quite open, and maybe I'll do another one next to it. And we will just bring those right in here and tuck those in. I do want to add over here some more green So I'm going to add another green leaf coming out this way, and we're going to paint that in over here. And probably another leaf right behind this pink flower. I think I'm going to pull a leaf out here. And then over here, I think for one more bloom, I am going to do another closed one. One that's not quite open, hiding behind this one a little bit. And then we'll pull out the bottom part down there. On this guy down here, this is opening up nicely. I like that, but I think it could also be maybe a little bit more robust. We can add another petal on there. And then I do think as well that I'm gonna probably do a wash of that nice, that faded out red right there. I am gonna go ahead and create that a different color. So, but first let's go ahead and lay down this. And I am going to start, let me move my paint out of the way here. But I maybe add just a hint of purple in to the blue. And so when I come over here, we're going to get just a different color here. I'm going a little bit more carefully now, being mindful of not as much going inside these lines because I don't want to break that up. I'm going to take that blue too. I'm going to bring it over here, that kind of blue purple color. And again, adding in just a little bit of that color, mixing that blue and the purple together. And coming around like that. Just adding, you can already start to see the difference in the flowers, right? I'm going to come back in with this one again. And I do still want to leave some darker areas, white areas and darker areas. So with the blue purple too, what I might do is with this, creating a sense of shadowing, also maybe an extra petal back here that was maybe surrounding it. We'll just do this. And that looks, I think that looks really fun. We can come back over here, even doing another petal and then bringing it all the way around. I may come back and then add in some more pin as well. Over here, I definitely needed to add in some more color, definitely around the base. If I wanted to broaden this out, I certainly could add a petal here, just bring them around, and then let the color settle down in here. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush now. I do like that phthalo blue and the ultramarine in here, so I am going to just pull a little bit, and I think the green had blended in. So we're just going to do a little bit at the top and down the middle to show that delineation of color. And I'm going to leave that alone. Come on down here with this blue, adding in some additional petals. Coming around, I do want to dab in some purple. And sometimes this late in the game, I don't typically add in another color, but I just felt like we needed something in this painting. And so we're just going to take a risk like we said at the top. No one's getting hurt if this painting doesn't turn out right. No one's not eating dinner, you know, when you start a new recipe. I hate that. And you're making it for dinner and it's just a bomb. There's just nothing like that, right? All right, so let's do this one. We're gonna do that actually a bit of a purple. So grab your purple if you're doing purple, and I am just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna leave the inside because it's a little bit wet still too. I'm gonna let that just be white. I am gonna go around the green here. I'm gonna do these two sweet little buds up here. We're gonna add some purple over there. I am loving this. I like this a lot. I'm gonna go back with the blue and come back in here. We had definitely gotten some combination color here is going on. So I want to pull that back out. I'm actually gonna grab a small brush because I do want to dip into that cadmium red. That was definitely a color we were using, and just come back in here and in here as well, and just let that blend a bit. And even in here, almost as if there might have been some other petals coming through. And then over here as well. Some bright, bold flowers. We'll do a wreath later on as well with some red holly and the red berries that come on the holly. That's going to be a lot of fun. And you see I got a little bit of a splatter down there. Not a big deal. I can either I'll just kind of dab it off like this. Now I wanted to create a green leaf there. I am going to pull my green out. And I'm going to come right under here. I don't want to add any more red to this flower because if I do and they blend, that will be, you got it. It will turn into brown. We don't want any brown. I'm going to come over here with this one. And then even back here, I'm going to do another leaf right back here and then do these little, not petals, little leaves coming out. And that's looking really cute. It's fun. I like it a lot. It's a little bit playful, right? The whole bouquet has definitely a feeling of playfulness. I don't think it's taking itself too seriously, which I do love. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here, adding some more green in there. Now, we have some green leaves up here too that I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in, because that leaf is definitely taking up the whole area. So we're going to bring that around. And this leaf as well, I had done a little bit more of a sketch, so let's bring that down. Let's bring that leaf in, and then over here, just adding in some of the detail. If you want to grab some blue and mix it up with the green, that's going to create some shadowing, and then you can add in some detail, for example, just right over here. And making sure everything has a home. Sometimes I'll have like random leaves or petals just like hanging out in the atmosphere. Okay, so now that I'm looking at this, this looks nice. Now this purple is a bit bold. What I'm going to actually come back and do is grab the blue and then just lay some blue right on top of it. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take that purple and see where it's a little bit, for example, up here, we're going to put a little bit of purple in here, right in here. That's actually really pretty, right? So we can see these two flowers have that in common. Lost my paint there for a minute. Moving that around, moving that up as well. Okay, and that's coming along really nicely. Now still I wanted to create on that outside. Let me grab, I have some water that's fairly clean over here. I am going to go and take the pink, or really that red. And this is where it can get a little bit scary. You think to yourself, I don't know, well, how is this going? I like this a lot. I'm going to add a little bit of red down here first off, right? Because we would definitely have some shadowing and just some areas too where it's going to look more red versus where the light is shining off of it. Definitely under here. Try not to touch your purple though. So if you want to let it dry first, that's a wise choice. All right, and then I'm going to take this too. I'm actually going to start doing a wash. And I think what I even might do is take that wet paper towel that I have and move it around. And again, not touching the flowers as much as possible. Coming up in here just a little bit. I'm going in with that tip really, really carefully so that I don't create bleeding anywhere. And we were pretty intentional. We were keeping our red really in the middle so that we're not coming red on red and clashing outside. We really want it to move together, and we have a little bit of bleeding right there. That's okay. I'm just going to kind of push it back in like that. I mean, ideally, am I going to go in here? Oh, I just dropped a bit on there. Not worried about it. We're going to dab that out just like that. I'm going to come through here. I'm going to get a little bit more red, and I am going to come over here a bit and just, so we do have a bit of red on red right over here, right? But that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Actually, that's kind of fun. And then we are going to let this dry for a good long while. And like, I probably will not touch this one again. I may take the tape off and just to set it if I'm working on another project. But I'm gonna let this dry till it's completely dry. And that is looking actually, I do like it with the red background and then against the blue too. Is this Christmassy? I think so. I mean, I think it definitely has a Christmas feel. Be careful as you go inside here because it can get dangerous. You might want to let it dry first, and then we could do a bit of a wash. And so just be mindful of that. We could always come back in, but I do like to live dangerously sometimes and just do a little bit of color and move it around and just move it around. Okay, so that's actually I kind of think that's fun. You know what I'm going to do? The very last thing I'm going to do, get some more red and then just dab right in here. It's fun. It's lovely. I think this is turning out a bit better than I thought, because I'm gonna be honest, I was nervous, but what do you guys think? So I'm gonna just bring it in a little bit closer. It is a bit of an extravaganza. It's a little wild. I'm fine with that. I think it's fun to be a little bit wild and crazy, and just have fun and just experiment and see how the paint merges. We were careful with our colors, but we were living a bit dangerously with the greens and the reds together. And so again, we'll do another, I've got some fun ideas for some more Christmas or winter themed florals, and those are coming up. I have some really fun bonus things that are Christmas themed that are coming up on the YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe, and that way you're gonna get notified when I release the videos for sure. You're getting one, there's one release every Wednesday. The special Advent series is going on every Sunday. So I will see you guys very, very soon. Let me know in the comments if you like this or if this was just a bit too crazy, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Okay, I'll see you next time.